and welcome to the skating lesson. I'm Dave Lees.
I'm Jonathan Byer.
Doug Ha.
Yes, Doug Ha, welcome back to the show. And for all of you who are new here, we're going to break down everything that happened at the Junior Grand Prix and the Russian test skates this weekend. So subscribe below, ring that bell, and smash that like button so we know that you are liking what we're talking about. Now, Doug, you were going to be in a hurricane. It was coming to Florida. You said you had a ticket already booked, that you had already planned to go to Toronto. We know that you were in the cricket club on Monday. So Brian already spilled the beans to Ted Barton, but we had been hearing rumors that Hanyu has been trying quints in the harness. He's been trying the quad axel in the harness. He's been training quads all summer, flipped Lutz, kept his programs. What can you tell us about what you saw at the cricket club?
Okay, well, starting with Hanyu, he looked extremely fit. He did both a short and a long, both clean with up to just quad loop though, no quad lats.
Okay.
But he looked very fit. When he finished both programs, it was like, he didn't, run over to sit on a bench or not look trained. He looked very trained, and his percentage of jumps, I think he maybe missed 2 in 1.5 hour session. He looked great.
Did you see him get in the harness and do any sort of?
No, it was because it was Labor Day. It was a holiday in Canada as well as United States. So
Such
Jeff Denisio, the harness expert at Camp Cricket, was not there.
Okay.
So, but I know from Brian, he's been doing quad lutzes. I didn't hear about the quintuple axel.
Okay. We saw Conrad Orzel did a quad lutz on Instagram.
Yes. He did lots of quad lutzes.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he's fixing. He has a kind of a funky takeoff on the back edge to the front edge on his triple axel, and Brian gave him a new entrance with that ended with a back outside counter, and he was doing that quite well.
Okay.
So it was impressive to see him improve his whole skating persona on the ice, be it jumps, spins, and most importantly, his ice presence really improved.
Now, how about Jason Brown? Did you see him practice?
Okay, Jason, I heard, had a car accident, right? He was T-boned in an Uber at the Champs camp.
Oh.
So apparently he had a concussion, and they were very concerned, and U.S. Figure Skating has been monitoring it, and doctors have been monitoring. So he just was, I think on Monday, it was the first day he was doing triples again. And he did all the way up to triple axel, and he looked very comfortable, and there were no signs of it, to me. Again, I'm not a doctor. However, I've been in skating for 100 years, and there were no signs that he was struggling by any means.
No vomiting.
He looked stunning on the ice.
Okay.
And all of his jumps were spot on, like all the triples. And he did not try a quad that day. And I'm sure, speaking to Brian, they're trying to monitor, exactly his training with adapting back to, trying his quads again.
Okay. Well, we'll get into Medvedeva later, so we'll ask you about that when we get to Russia. But let's start with the Junior Grand Prix in Riga. And it looked like it was supposed to be Daria Usacheva's coming out party, and it looked like it was going to be after the short program, but Haein Lee came from behind, did a great free skate, and Daria Usacheva missed both of her combinations that she backloaded. What was your take on the top 2 finishers there?
Well, when you look at the long program of Haein Lee, she had all positive GOEs from every judge. And when you saw her skate, I mean, it was flawless. It was exactly what she probably trained for, and she made everything look easy. And for me, it's something like that I have a pet peeve about. Is like, first thing I when a skater comes on the ice, I see their dress. And then I immediately go to their hair. And then it's like, she's great dress, great hair. And then I go down to the feet and look at, she had clean skates and clean laces. So right away, she's already got
she didn't even start, and she was winning.
You and Frank Carroll are very happy. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, of course, the big thing with her was the speed in and out of the jumps. Whereas what's her name?
Usacheva.
Usacheva. You know, she had the problem on the triplettes half, or the Euler triple sow, when the Euler was over rotated, and really she only had it underturned the triple sow, and to me it was totally forward. However, she was lucky that time. And then the triple flip, triple toe, she was outside the circle on the takeoff of the toe, so she had to land on 2 feet to save herself from falling. But she did come back and fight for that triple flip. But to me, the damage was done because, you know, the Japanese girl also skated quite well with only, 3 negative GOEs on out of 9 judges on 11 elements. So the Russian girl Usacheva had to skate clean in order to do it. Now, but in the short, she was terrific. You know, I loved her short, and she had all positive geos in that. And the big thing with all those Russian girls is that they're so stretched. Mm-hmm. Their toes are so pointed. It's like they use all their personal space. And so to me, it comes to, you know, I'm sure all of those girls are all in ballet forever and ever and ever. And I wish that every program in the United States and Canada have ballet classes every day or 3 times a week, because it really shows the difference that, you know, like you look at what do our American girls have to do. There's just the refinement. They're doing the triples. Both girls and both Americans did triples, but they just need the refinement that the Russians have. And I think it's from the ballet classes.
And they look trained. They look like they definitely run those programs a million times.
Right.
Usacheva, I do think we asked politely on Instagram for them to hold her spirals out of those double axels, and they now are doing that more. But I would like her to hold the Ina Bauer, because she has a very lovely Ina Bauer, and if she could be like Kostornaya and hold it longer, I think it would be worth more for transitions and be more effective choreographically, more memorable. I think Haein Lee has a spark. Right.
Yeah. But Haein Lee is also holding those pretty positions, and that's the thing. Daria Usacheva, she has this beautiful extension, but they don't let her hold it, like you're saying, Dave. They don't let the moment land.
They don't let her stand out as much as...
Yeah, and we want to see that extension for that second longer, I think, in order to really appreciate it. And she is... Now, Doug, let's get your opinion on this. So much of this is muscled and wrenched in the arms, especially for Daria in the short program, that it really is so much more distracting to me, because Haein Lee just had this beautiful kind of trajectory and spring in the jump that I found much more aesthetically pleasing.
She jumps with her legs like Yuna more. They have the same coach, right?
Yeah.
You could see in the spin positions, there was a lot of Yuna's old positions there. And it seems like she's training with Ensu now, although they've never officially announced that. But that would make a lot of sense in terms of the coaching and the development. So they're quite similar. And they're both quite charismatic. I think much more so than Yu Young or Yi Lim Kim. But the Koreans, as we're seeing, there were 2 girls in the Junior Grand Prix last week who were quite strong. This week, Haein Lee winning. We still have Ensu, Yu Young, Yi Lim Kim. They're quite deep. And they seem like they have picked up skating very quickly. They get what the look is about. They get the showbiz. And frankly, they look almost stronger than Japan in terms of depth.
Especially as the upcoming. Yeah.
This year especially.
Yeah.
And again, to me, it's the packaging, it's the finished look, the training, the stretch. And those girls skate last week in Lake Placid, and this week it's like, wow, they paid real attention to detail. I don't know what kind of who's monitoring their training, or who is their their Mitch Moyer of Korea, but whoever is doing a great job.
Well, I think they all look to Mrs. Park, and they are following in her lead of... Yes.
Right.
I think we all are. When I adopt a daughter, I would like to be like Yuna's mom, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, she was a great asset to Yuna. You can't mince that.
Yeah. No, Doug Haw, Jonathan and I have had a debate going on about the other Russian from Materi, the taller one, Maiia Khromykh. Jonathan likes her. I think she is not really memorable or talented or special.
Shift it back, Dave.
Jonathan,
Lee.
You were a big fan of hers.
I watched again, and when Maiia did her short program here again, I really do see potential in her line and stretch in the opening of the short program in particular.
Doug Ha, I think she's a Russian bad version of Bradie Tennell who is going nowhere. Okay.
No, she's going. No, I'm on Jonathan's side. Really? I liked her.
Really?
Yeah, I did because that double axel at the beginning of her short program was breathtaking, and that to me, if you have a good double axel like that, she could do a triple. So I just don't understand why Terry has nobody doing a triple axel. Don't you think that's a little weird?
Kostornaya has shown them before, and Trusova has apparently been working on them. Yeah, but they have not been. Yeah.
Right. It's you have quads, you do this. It's something's different here, and I don't know what it is.
Well, why doesn't Tuktamysheva try a quad toe then? If she can do those triple axels with such ease, why doesn't she stick her toe in and toe axel that quad toe going around? With Mishin being such a gifted coach.
That could be the question of the day, because really, I just think though that you noticed we're jumping ahead, but she did 2 triple axels in her long, so I'm thinking she's going to have enough points. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, the interesting thing I will say about Maiia, Dave, is sometimes I find the Danny G choreography very two-dimensional, right? It's a bit flat to me, and she kind of envelops more of a 3-dimensional sort of space around her with the arms. I know your face. I know you. However, I do think just the opening of the short in particular shows great promise with the line if it was developed maybe with someone else.
Right. Agree.
I'm sticking to my point.
Okay, great. Meanwhile, as we talked about,
I don't think she's making the Junior Grand Prix final. It's going to be very difficult.
I don't think she is.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
No,
I don't think anyone who doesn't make the Junior Grand Prix final gets another year at Sambo 70. So I'm just saying.
Maybe, okay. Yeah. Now, Dave, when we were talking about the Lake Placid, Cracker Barrel furniture.
Yeah.
This time we got Costco outdoor patio furniture. Did you notice that? Riga was sporting a nice, deck look for their Kiss and Cry. So the Junior Grand Prix Kiss and Cry decorators are in full force this season.
No. How about Ekaterina Kruakova? Okay, our Polish girl who's really Russian, but she's Polish, so I'm team her. Doug Ha, she had some under rotations here. What's your take on her? Because she does look extremely physically talented. Right.
No, I agree. She's had under rotations basically since she arrived with Brian, and obviously he said that she's done them clean, but. I saw her skate, and not this trip, obviously, but because she had already left. But I saw the under rotations, but at the same time, I've seen them clean. I saw them clean just online from the Minto skate competition in Ottawa. So she is talented. She's got a weird double axel, though, a kind of a Ekaterina double axel with her right arm kind of punching through on her elbow comes through. However, I saw improvement in it at this competition from the beginning or last spring, so that was good. But her performance value is incredible, incredible. But again, she's 17, so you think it would be, especially since she's had time to develop her artistic sense through her just maturity of being skating. And I thought her short program was good, and the long was really good. I just thought that, for her, and I've already mentioned it to Brian, her hair, the ponytail doesn't suit that Audrey Hepburn.
That's correct. Yeah.
And so, but really everything else is there. She just has to, skate clean.
How was Jason Brown's hair situation? Because it was getting long again in the back. There was a froey nature. Did it get trimmed?
Yeah, it was trimmed, but it's not as short as yours. But it might be a little bit like Jonathan's, but not quite as. It's still curly, but it's not.
Okay. We just have to make sure that
Okay.
bad habits don't creep back, right?
I didn't see anything like no. And
we'll send you up there with scissors if there's a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure that he's getting his haircut this week because he's not competing till Nebelhorn.
Yeah,
so
they wanted to debut Schindler's List in Germany. They thought that would be poignant. So
right. Yeah. Plus, just give him a bit more time. Everybody else, I guess, from Brian's stable is pretty well debuting at the Fall Classic.
Yeah.
In Mississippi, Oakville.
Yeah. The home of Megan Duhamel. So she had her baby shower this weekend. And before we forget, Bradie Tennell and Gabby Daleman both withdrew from Autumn Classic. I think Gabby wants more time to get ready. Bradie Tennell was in a boot at Champs Camp, but also skated. She was doing up through triple loop then, so I think they're just taking precautionary measures. She had a sprain, I bet. But let's
didn't know that.
Let's discuss the men, because Andrew Torgashev has been talented in the U.S. for a number of years. It's obviously not great for him at this point to go to the Junior Grand Prix and be fourth and not even make the final. Doug, what do you think it's going to take for him to really break out in the U.S.?
Well, I saw him skate at the Philadelphia competition, and he
skated better in Philadelphia.
Really, really well. But obviously, there was no pressure on him there compared to what there was here. And the pressure maybe from having skated well in the summer meant he had to skate even better here. However, when you kind of basically miss 3 jumps in your short, that tells me that, bad habits or something's haunting him, or it's a confidence thing, and it's very unfortunate because he is a beautiful, beautiful skater, and when he does his jumps, they're +4s and 5s. They're that good.
Do you think someone like him, where they feel like they're a senior, they're maybe a senior at nationals, and then they go, it's almost like a step down to the Junior Grand Prix, but they almost have to win? Do you think that that's a weird psychological place to be in?
Well, especially when you're in the 5th year in the junior circuit. This is 5th year.
Yeah, if he can't do the triples, I don't know how he could ever think of maybe making that transition to senior.
Well, it's how can I say this? He's 18, and he must think that he is a senior man in his head, and I would say to go down to junior for him. You change your whole mentality, and I think that it's obviously not for him because he hasn't done well, and he seems to have done better in these senior competitions. So obviously I think they'll send him to the next one because last year he made the Grand Prix final finishing 4th and 1st. So he's probably thinking the same thing now, that he can win the next one or when he's in it. But I believe he's against quite a few, he'll have to skate. Sure. And I don't know what he'll do to change his training or his mindset, but hopefully he will, because he deserves to be at the top.
I think when you're a senior, it's hard to go to junior. I went to, when I was in college, I took someone to the prom. I was, when I took someone to their senior prom, and it was quite awkward. And I imagine you feel out of place and not excited. And I imagine for them, it has to be quite similar. If you're going to a senior B on the senior level, that's a little bit more something to get up for. How about Daniil Samsonov? He's got a bit of a leg wrap. He has innate charisma, but Eteri has not had a lot of success with boys in the past. What do you see in his skating?
Just 1 second here for my notes.
Well, we're looking for Doug's notes. I will say I love this kid. Mm-hmm. I love his spinning. I mean, I wanted to cry during his camel spin in the short. I was like, this is so wonderful. And he just has a joy of it. The body type is very confusing to me compared to the size of his head. And I'm unsure of what happens.
He's a shorter person, Jonathan. He's not as tall as you. It's not.
I know. And so, but yet I like him anyway.
He's not like Maiia Khromykh, okay?
But yeah.
Did you have many years where your pants didn't fit and they were, flood pants going on as you grew?
Still do, Dave. Fortunately, that's kind of a thing now, so it's okay.
It's like in my notes here, only Daniel and Andrew Torgashev got level 4 in. Andrew didn't in the short. that he's the only boy that got all 3 spins level 4 and level 4 steps.
Those Sambo 70 kids
correct.
are training their spins all the time, always.
And I think that all Iteri's skaters have all improved their spins this year.
How come they never fixed Evgenia's camel spin, and why is it so ugly, Doug Ha? Well, it makes me want to cry for the other reasons.
I can't answer that question. I don't know. Again, maybe it's because it bothers me to no end because her skating leg is bent.
It is bent and out to the side.
That's her free leg.
Yeah.
You're
talking about the skating leg. Sorry.
The skating leg, if somebody, especially if a boy can do a camel spin, then I think the coach has paid attention to detail and that they're well trained. The skater is well trained. So when somebody is as good as Evgenia and has a bent skating leg, not to mention a not turned out free foot in her free leg, then it needs to be addressed. But at the same time, I know she's been really trying hard to focus on a quad and get all her, she really loves her programs. So it's, I don't know, unless you're there every day and see what's going on and talk to her more, you don't know. But when you don't have a camel spin properly, that's not good.
Well, Zagitova could also have a better camel spin, and Shcherbakova is really the sickled foot Sasha Cohen. So we'll have to discuss that when we get to it. But the junior men, I think Daniil does have X factor. It's going to be interesting to see.
Oh my gosh, 100%.
Yes.
And Sihyeong Lee, I thought, was quite impressive here. He finished second.
Beautiful. He seemed fast, and then he had these really long lines and shapes that he was making. He was another elegant junior force to come out of this Korean federation. His arms were beautiful. I really loved it.
I think that they should get a Grand Prix stat because they are developing skating in that country, and if the ISU wants to survive monetarily, I think that Korea I would bank on it. The place to be.
Yeah, you can see where this boy benefited from putting his arms over his head and stretched. I mean, he was completely elongated over his axis, and he spun magnificently in the air, and it was all even, and he came out landing over his foot, and everything was like biomechanically perfection.
Yeah.
So, and then I have to tell you, it's like when you do have both hands over your head as well as he did, like in both jumps, like triple lutz, triple toe, and then they were both of equal quality. You just go, wow, and yeah.
And it's interesting because having the triple loop be the required jump this year, some of the men just don't do it as well as you might think. Like, even when we were, Dave, at Mid-Atlantics, I snuck over and saw some of the junior men practicing. And they all kind of have some issues with it, but I thought, did we say Sihyeong Lee? How did you pronounce it, Dave?
I'm not sure if I pronounced it correctly, but...
Okay. So feel free to let us know below.
Yeah.
Mr. Lee, he had such a beautiful triple loop. It was really, really beautiful to see. But of course, Daniil's was also gorgeous and lovely.
Now, how about Andrei Mozalev? What did you make of him, Doug?
Okay, so his short program. Well, first of all, again, it's like
that music, Doug. That music.
It was really boring.
Oh.
I just put down music boring. But again, he's well trained, and again, he can do a camel spin. And
but did you think it slow? I thought he had a nice position in the camel. I just thought it was like molasses.
Yeah, it was slow, but to me, what I liked was that. First of all, his pants fit. There's so many boys at the junior level. Their crotch is so low, like they haven't found a proper, costume.
Hammer. Yeah.
Like the rise of the pants, you mean? Yeah.
And his pants fit. Like when he did a camel spin, it wasn't like you saw, a tent at the crotch. Like it was really
right.
You could see his full length of his leg. And it's something silly like that, but again, it's paying attention to detail. He was very mechanical-like, but again, well trained. And then it showed up.
Triple axel, right? Did you like his triple axel?
And then the quad toes in the long. I loved his timing, his rhythm. He had like a 1-2 turn and then a 1-1 pick, and it was very definite, and you could use it to as on an instructional video to show your skaters perfect timing on a quad. And the second one wasn't as good as the quad toe triple toe, but he made a lot of mistakes in the long, but he racked up a lot of points where the other boys didn't, because he had the quads that were big ticket items to give him lots of points, and that's why he won, even though he had lots of errors, lots of jumping landing errors. But and he was off balance in the long, but he showed that he was really the strength of the event, other than Andrew Torgashev. He was really he had strength. That's what I would, if I had to say one word, positive, he had strength.
Now, we hear you talk a lot about camel spins. Did you see Brian Boitano's sit spin this week, where he was trying to see how many revolutions he could get? I don't know if you know, but he's Eteri Tudoriza's favorite skater, Doug. And
I heard the interview.
She was such a fangirl for him in the 80s.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember she used to show up with the foam finger at all those nationals. Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then
Mercer just loves that one.
Yeah. But then Alissa Czisny did one up Brian. But if you pay attention to our YouTube channel, Doug, I got a hold of Ann Jensen's VHS collection from the old Nationals VHS. And if anyone has them, please email us, because we have been doing watching the 88 and the 89 Nationals on YouTube.
There are some gems in there, Dave. You have found some real nuggets.
Doug Manis skating to Janet Jackson. This is the event where the men skated. The last group went on after midnight at the 88 Nationals. So there were not too many great free skates there. But quite a few interesting performances in the 88.
Was Tom Z the 88?
Tom Z looks like what you would expect after you've seen his skaters. Good Lutz jumps, presentation in the threes. That was Tom Z, and it's worth a watch. So
yeah,
I watched it.
Oh, I could picture Doug Haw just having fun watching that. But we went to Mid-Atlantics, Doug, and we saw all of our favorite USFS people. Mitch Moyer was there, Kyoko, Wendy Ensman, Lucy Brennan, Lori Parker, Troy. I mean, this is why people were there to see and be seen at Mid-Atlantics in New York. It always confuses everyone that thinks it's a regional competition. It isn't. It's actually a club competition by the Skating Club of New York, the Chelsea Piers. But they always get in top talent because it is where an opportunity for monitoring. The USFS wants to see readiness, especially from the pairs. I know that Mervyn and Olivia were kind of skating for a Senior B assignment, and they skated very well, so I would expect to see them. And their coach told me that his brother was pulled off of a panel, just in case, because Jason Briggs is the twin brother of Simon Briggs, who's a specialist. So let's talk about it. Alexa and Chris, in person. I wanted to ask you, Doug, about the Raphael jump technique, because it is the one thing that you can really tell that they switch. When I watched them, I watched their 20-minute practice on Friday. I watched their warm-ups closely, and you could see Alexa doing all the Raphael drills, and they're so severe with his view of jumping and, isolating the ribs and the kind of, the shoulders one side to the other. Do you think it's challenging at 28 and 31 years old to kind of learn such a different way of jumping?
For them, the Kiernams, I pronounced the name correctly.
Yeah.
Knierim.
Mm-hmm.
Well, obviously, the jumps are the challenge, and especially for the boy. Mm-hmm. And so to me, every jump, every turn, every spin, as a wind up and a release. And it's all rotating your shoulders against your hips. So to me, to do all of this is probably trying to, get them prepared, that they need to really make sure they wind up, because obviously that's the problem. And then it looked like the man,
Chris,
Chris,
Mhm.
sorry, Chris.
That's okay.
Chris, still has, some jump issues because he's doubled both of the jumps in the long, right?
Yeah, and I noticed he did land the toe in the short, and the toe was not his best jump in the past. But the interesting thing was that Alexa hit every single jump of the triple toe that she went for in the warm-up, but that in the competition, it almost looked like Chris, kind of jumped early before she ever took off.
See, I wonder if she delayed because in person, Dave, you're right. Like it was very noticeable that they had completely different timing going into those things. And Chris was almost at the highest point in the air when Alexa took off. So I don't know if that came because she was, again, concerned about him and the jump.
How could you not be when that's
and she delayed, but then she looked okay in the air, but maybe her knee wasn't bent or something. But they did it again in the long. The timing was just so different between the two.
I think he's just going. I don't think he's waiting for anyone. I think if Chris can land a triple, you are just
you think he rushes versus her waiting.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any sort of time.
Right.
Chris looks like he is. You could tell by his body position going into the jump that the shoulders are raised, the head is a little bit forward, and he looks a little bit like he's trying to make his body smaller and insecure rather than going into it with confidence. And
right, he's already trying to rotate before he even takes off.
Yeah,
he's already getting down and trying to pull into almost a fetal position.
Yeah.
However, Alexa looked very good. She looked I loved her timing. I thought, she really improved.
I did. And she was jumping so well in the practice, and she under-rotated the triple sow in the long, but in practice it was perfect. It was good every time. She looks more confident in the practice, but not yet in the performance. I wonder if they have a psychological coach like Marie France, because that seems to be the one element that's kind of missing from their skating, that element.
Well, to me, if, the way I think it should be done, they should really work on the consistency of the jumps. And then you do it obviously in the program. Then obviously if something goes wrong, then it's time to bring in the sports psychologist or they should have their trigger words or their cue words incorporated into the technique of the jump, whether it's counting to give them a rhythm or it's step, check, press, pick, one of those power words, pull, whatever. They need to have trigger words to help them with their jumping so they get the timing, the pattern, and then the positions. Because to me, jumps come down to the pattern first. Obviously, you have to have the right positions. Then you have to have the timing for the jump, and that's for all jumps. It's those three components. And to me, his timing, he got anxious. So to me, it looks like they haven't done enough jumps with the music. Maybe they just need to go back over again and both of them do the triple toe together, put the music on and do the triple toe. I think it was after the beautiful, twist, right? And so maybe just do it from the beginning, and maybe they haven't done the twist and the jump enough together. Do you know what I mean? Connect the two, because that's the next thing is I don't know if they've had time to train the sets of elements yet, because that's very important. I know in pair skating from way back the Underhill Martini days when I saw them train every day as I was with Louis Stong at the time. So to make sure the program went well, they would always do elements with the music and 2 or 3 depending on how close they got to competition. But I could see the benefits of that helping the Kinirums. So
to your point, Dave, about the sports psychologist, it's interesting because I like her a lot. And I think she kind of gets it. I think she's immensely talented. And you see how hard she is on herself. She's aware and yet has this ability. And then sometimes it fails her in the thing. I just wonder when it might get frustrating to just keep kind of, I don't know, hitting your head against the wall. Because if maybe I don't know if this still brings them joy. It would be tough for me.
She was on.
I think
Look,
as a
Jonathan,
to continually have this experience.
I don't know if she wanted to run into us in September, but she was playing the game. She talked to us after both performances. She was very friendly.
But she's a real person. She's delightful. You see on Instagram how amazing she is with those young kids in her rings.
She's playing the game, and she's in it.
Yeah.
If he is in it, unclear. But she is, I think she's very in it. I think this is choreographically, I think that they're paying more attention to their style. They have those moves that Benoit does in both programs where they're kind of doing like pose dance choreograph.
There's too many stops and poses to me for a program of I want to be the American champions and I want to be in the top 5 in the world. There's too many stops and poses to me. And when you think back to their elements, it almost is like they focus too much on the elements and not on a performance. Because to me, I found the whole thing a little bit. I don't know if it was just the music, but I would have chosen, a more orchestrated piece of classical music for them to make them look a little faster, to make them look stronger. Because I don't think the slow music helped them, because they have more potential than what the music showed.
Well, there's also a version of that music that does have lyrics, and I was wondering if that would have helped them a little bit, because that piece, the naughty, the experience, for the free, I think that the short is very nice. It's very Mino and Sand 2019. Like it's a little bit schmaltz, right? I think that was the criticism that we were seeing in the comments, but it is nice. There's some cool choreographic moments. I think she is into it. Her dress looks fantastic in both programs. I think they look the part of the senior champions. It just is going to come down to, can they land the jumps? Because if they don't, I think the U.S. judges will give it to Kane and Leduc. I think Kane and Leduc play the game in the USFS, as well as, Delilah's playing the game. I do think that Alexa and Chris should get to Worlds again this year, but it's going to come down to the jumps for them. Their lifts are probably the best in the country. Their throws are pretty good. She does have it.
She got tremendous height in those throws here. She was just landing them on 2 feet because I think maybe almost there was too much height for her or something. I couldn't quite tell from where we were standing, and I liked the death spiral entrance for the short. For me, I much preferred the short program to the free skate. The piece of music, the At Last also, but
I think that they have some cool ideas in the free. They do the 2 squats together. I'd like them to be a little bit closer and maybe do like a little head thing with each other and stuff, but there's stuff to work with and tinker with. I like their aesthetic more than Kane and Leduc. I just worry that they have 8 seasons of the jumps, 7-8 seasons of the jumps being an issue. I think that's when you really have to work with a sports psychologist to kind of get past that. Raphael is good, but you're competing with your past history as well. And I think it's, something that seems to be showing up a little, especially when they're doing it, when she's doing it in practice. And then she had some issue in the short. I was kind of surprised by that because she looks quite good.
Kind of what you're saying is you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So if you're going to, and I'm sure Raphael's doing, he's probably broken the element, the jumping down like step by step meticulously. Mm-hmm. So hopefully with more mileage on it, they will both get better. And I did send the video to one of my friends who is a World Olympic controller, and he said that they just need to get moving and make it more exciting. So to me, put in more run-throughs. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, it comes down to, it doesn't matter who wins the practice, who has the best elements, it's who can do it when it counts, and you've got to train your program. Mm-hmm. And not parts. You got to do full run-throughs. Like, they got to make full run-throughs now from now till Worlds.
And I'm sure we'll hear in the comments that this is early for them and yada, yada, yada. And so do you find any of that has to do with how early in the season it is, or maybe just a general approach situation?
No, I do think yes, it's early in the season. You can't fudge that. However, it's like, to me, again, put in the mileage. That's what they need to do. It's like, let's kind of talk about how we can help them, or what can we suggest, and to me, it seems like they're on track, but they need to put in the mileage.
Yeah, I do think that they've upped their sophistication level since moving away from Delilah, but I think Yeah, it'll be interesting. Also, TJ was kind of coaching the junior pairs with Delilah, which was like a little curious.
Alarming. Yeah.
I was saying curious, Jonathan.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, my alarm on my phone is going off. That's why I said that.
Okay. I did want to talk a little bit about Olivia and Mervyn. It's interesting that maybe the sow was not his good jump because he was landing the toe, which that was always one of the ones that was like a hope and a prayer with Marissa for them. It looks like he's more settled in this partnership. He's clearly the leader, but he's skating very well. He did miss the flip in the free skate. I think overall they look good. They still have a very crashy twist that needs a lot of work, and I think it's going to come last. But I think what's going to set them apart, the lift positions, is that Olivia is so new to pairs, and she's not someone that has the gorgeous lift positions.
Right. She has some awkward moments.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look like how we've talked about, Dave. It doesn't look like she's doing her part in the lift.
Especially when like my line nowadays, the girls, you have to toss them around like salad.
Yeah.
And when she changes from one position to another, the transitions are very awkward.
Yeah.
I can't. They're awkward.
Do you do that in ballet class? Is that movement class? I mean, stretch, flexibility. I mean, it looks like it all could use some.
Because you see, when Mervyn warms up, when he just goes out there and is practicing his skating skills and warming up the edges and stuff like that, it's quite stunning.
The best.
He has,
in the event,
he has some.
Well, he's
really
already proven himself. He's already a world bronze medalist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still feel there are limitations for him in this particular partnership. Unfortunately, he's had a rough go because I think he has a talent that hasn't really fully been shown.
I think Olivia has a talent in the jumps. I know Frank was rude to her and said that she wasn't special when she tried out with him, but I think that they kind of have to really work on the ballet, work on the dance class, and kind of find that unique quality that she has, because she does have a steadiness. She has a nice look about her. She matches well with him. They work well together. I think they just need to up that skill level, whether it's acro yoga, whether it's ballet, whether it's everything, to kind of work those positions together.
And Dave, when you and I broke down the American team's throws after nationals, and we were talking about those that had great trajectory, those that had great height, all this sort of stuff, theirs kind of goes straight up and then straight down. Like, they seem to get a lot of height in it, but she doesn't seem to go very far.
Yeah.
It's kind of a fascinating sort of situation. Again, that could have been our view, because it was very strange that we were in the rink that didn't have any seating.
Yeah, why did they put... I was very concerned why they put the premier event.
Supposedly that rink is slightly larger. The actual ice surface
but usually,
is what they said. But
usually the top event is in the event with the bleachers.
The East rink, yeah.
Yeah, it was very weird at Chelsea Piers that we were in the other rink. I've never seen people skate well at Chelsea Piers ever, from year to year. I don't know. It's a weird event, a weird vibe. Like, between the two rinks, everyone's like hanging out in the cafeteria style scene.
And we're standing right there while they're warming up the lift directly behind us, and maybe it just feels strange. Yeah,
I think it's a weird energy. I don't know. I also always find it weird. I used to skate in the mall sometimes on a fourth floor, and it's raised obviously at Chelsea Piers. I guess you're in the third floor. I find that very weird when you're skating as well. Like, it's a strange thing. But
I've never been there, so I can't comment.
Yeah. Anyway, let's discuss our friends in Russia, Doug Haw, because this was an event.
This was epic. The amount of programs and skaters and...
The ladies' event alone was 8 heavy hitters, 6 of whom extremely heavy hitters, with 2 backup dancers. But let's start with the woman of the hour, Evgenia Medvedeva. Doug, I know we love Brian. Why is he having her do 3 Lutzes? That was a Flutz that Stevie Wonder could have seen. That is not a clean edge, and I think we're putting her at a disadvantage by doing 3 of them. What is going on with the rationale there?
I never spoke to Brian about it, but I would assume that the skater is also very involved in that decision-making process. And I would think that she is thinking that her lutzes are at the very most exclamation marks and not a full edge call. So that's probably where all the lutzes came from.
Yeah, I would think that changing it to flips might help. I thought she did a beautiful.
I know, but it's just the like just the perception. Like when you see somebody only do flips and not lutzes, then everything goes down, because you know that the lutz is technically is a higher point getter. And I know what that, but I'm just telling you the mentality, like the psyche, I think of, and again, this is only my assumption, that it's when you do lutzes, it looks like she's going to be more competitive with the new young girls.
Well,
that's all I have to say. But we know that there were inside edges. There were fluxes.
Yeah. I don't think either piece of music elevates her. That's the other problem. I think that they're both.
You know what I thought, Dave? When she did the kind of Asiatic, exotic, long program music, like I thought there was something unique about it that was fascinating until Zagitova came out. And she kind of used the revved up version of that I found to be ultimately so much more effective.
I don't find Memoirs of a Geisha to be very memorable music. I think it was an American film that was kind of not as good as it could have been, and the music is not as good as it could be, and I don't think it really gives her the kind of charisma or character that she's capable of having, because she's an interesting personality.
It's a bit more generic.
It kind of like whitewashes her in a way, and I know that like she likes Japan, and it will endear her to Japan and help her keep her career going there. But I don't think that this program is really elevating her. I think it's kind of one note and snoozy. I just didn't see anything memorable going on in that performance.
Although I have to say, I thought it ended strong. I thought there were some unique approaches to the very end of the program, but until then it was just very empty.
I don't know. I didn't find a lot of memorable choreography. I didn't think it was like the choreographic sequence. I didn't think was really memorable.
Non-memorable memoirs. Okay.
The skating skills have gotten a little bit better in terms of her flow. It's still not enough at this age and point in her career what you would expect. I think it's going to be hard for her to get out of Russia with this kind of a performance level. I don't know if they'll go back to the drawing board. I don't know if she works a flip loop or something like that, but I thought the Saukow loop was quite a good combination, but they're going to have to really think about the strategy whether or not she gets that quad Saukow, because there's still problems with the double axel, still looks uncomfortable for her. So I don't know. I think it's going to be really hard.
Yeah, she avoided it altogether in the first.
She did a waltz. The first one was a waltz jump, and the second one she fell.
Yeah.
So, and both of them were when it comes to pattern and position, she was, kind of on a big circle and leaning out and leaning forward. So when she stepped forward, she, before she hit the toe, she was already looking like she was going to gyrate. And that's why the first one popped, and the second one, she was able to turn it. But again, she was outside the circle, so there's no way she could hold on to the landing. Mm-hmm. But the crowd really got behind her in the step sequence. They were really clapping. And, that was encouraging, I'm sure, for her. And to see all the banners in the stands and this, that big one, that there was some big one in the short program that was there. That was like, I don't know, 20 bodies wide. Mm-hmm. But definitely she has her work cut out for her this year to make it.
Yeah, she kind of appeared because of the depth and everyone was delivering here. It was sort of at the bottom of the pack, unfortunately.
Yeah, they were really delivering. I was really surprised at the junior girls that now are senior, and they all look senior. Mm-hmm. They didn't look junior. Like they've improved. And what was really neat that I noticed was all the transitions. They were doing Y stands, Ina Bowers, spirals, forward, backward. I mean, it was they were really improving the quality of like the transitions into everything throughout their whole programs. I was shocked.
What's interesting, what's fascinating about the Tuberidze camp is they do seem to be evolving. You know, when we were talking, Dave, where they went from Yulia, then to Evgenia, what they learned from those two, and then they learned with Zagitova. Like, a lot of these girls were holding positions longer. Some of them did have you see them inching forward and attempting to remedy sort of the holes in the strategy there.
They're also competing with each other. There's one-upsmanship going on. It's all
but they're one-upping each other now, not just in the technical content. The spin seemed stronger, the extension seemed better in a lot of them. I was sort of floored to see, like you're saying, kind of the entire level a little more finessed.
Totally.
Quite frankly, like I didn't expect it. Let's not get out of control. It's not, the skating skills I think that some of them could have if they had started on this journey from the beginning, where it was more of a priority. But I think in general, they've all upped their game in their PCS, actually.
Totally. Very much so.
That's one of the areas where I think it's going to hurt Evgenia too, is that her spins are okay, but they're nothing special. And the other girls all have spins that are phenomenal. And that's just... I think that's the time, right? Like, it's the new generation coming up, and it's going to be a challenge. Yeah.
Because I've got lots of like pluses besides some of the other girls' spins.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, how about Tuktamysheva? She went for 3 triple axels here. All clean. She's trying a triple flip combination in the short, which has never been her best triple.
Why is she doing that, Dave? When she did that, I thought, what on earth are you doing?
The base value, and these girls are concerned with, Doug was talking about Evgenia doing the Lutzes for the base value and the perception. She's trying to put in everything that she can, too, to make it.
But I wonder, why would she put it after the Lutz?
Okay, so just... Did you notice, though, I did, that her entry into the triple flip, what would be the triple toe in the short, was the same as her triple flip in the long. She did this back outside 3 mohawk to give her the rhythm. And obviously, in the short, it went too fast. You know what I mean? She turned the back 3 and the mohawk did it a little bit too fast because the one in the long was beautiful. So... I just think she did when she was younger triple Lutz, triple toe a lot, and and I think she may have even did it once last year or something. I might be wrong, but so there's something there that there must be a really good reason why she's doing triple flip, triple toe. Obviously, it's more comfortable, or she wouldn't be doing it. Let's face it, that's Mishin's her coach. I mean,
right?
They would have. He's a brilliant man. That's to me. There's. That would have been well thought out, is the bottom line.
Well, Radionova's coach, Irina Goncharenko, said that Mishin is brilliant technically, but she said that he's always had weird views about the programs. And Doug Ha, she got a short program from Shailin Bourne. Obviously, Mishin takes out all the transitions and choreography anyway, but they just flipped the music. And
did you notice, though, that really cool move into her Lutz, though, where she was doing like a straight line kind of back outside death spiral position?
Yes.
And then she kind of did a half one in the long because I thought she was tired, so she changed it.
Yeah.
But I definitely saw that. That was a Shailin move for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And however, I do know that he completely strips them down.
Mm-hmm.
He strips the program.
They're not meant to be a toolbox of moves to use at the random when you decide to any music you want. Like, Shailin obviously gets music and puts things in places for a reason, and the idea that it's just so interchangeable. It reminds me of when Ashley Wagner just kept a step sequence from Romeo and Juliet and just put it on top of Samson and Delilah. And the whole point of the step sequence is it's supposed to match the music. It's supposed to be the music on the ice in this very cool, and those are the step sequences where the audience goes nuts, We
totally.
Just on Patreon when we did the judging of Michelle's Tosca. I mean, the reason that step sequence at the end got everyone in a frenzy was because it was, one, so emotional and timed so well with the music that you can't help but just have a moment. The idea that you can just interchange choreography between music is absurd to me.
That says everything about her components to me, and everything about how it should. I can't believe they admitted that, because how are you going to give someone interpretation when you know that it has nothing to do with the music?
Admittedly don't care. Yeah. But I have to say that I've never seen her triple axels better.
Yeah,
these are
solid.
Of her career. They were
but
even though she does that kind of floppy arm entrance, it's amazing.
I mean, it's a long. I mean, look, she's doing 2 triple axels is incredible. The composition of it is quite terrible, but she does it and it's impressive. But I find I like the first minute with the triple axels and the triplettes. They were all +3, +4 jumps, but then afterwards, it's just all her going like this with her arms, and it's boring.
2-foot skating, and then interesting, she wore the red gloves, obviously to draw the attention to her hands, and she was the only person other than Shcherbakova to do the brilliant costume change in her long program. Remember when the music changed to Firebird and the red dress?
Oh, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, Doug. Yeah. We're gonna.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so to Elizabeth, she was using the red gloves, and I thought that was interesting how it would obviously draw attention to her hands, because when you think of most of the girls, the ladies were doing just wore plain stuff, like a practice. Costume, and it was interesting how she wore the red gloves. To me, it was on purpose to draw the attention to.
But isn't it interesting? For the exact same reason, I would tell her not to wear the red gloves, because all of her it breaks at the wrist, and so it's only accentuating that nothing is happening with the arms, and it's only happening with the hands. She may get away with more if they weren't there, in my opinion.
Well, to me, it was to take. If you looked at her hands, then you couldn't see her standing on 2 feet.
I would agree with Doug there. I think, unfortunately, I find that the music is just okay. I find that her act is getting really hard, repetitive, and hard to overlook. We've seen it so many times. We know what her free is like. We know what her vibe is. It's just not interesting to me. The jumps are interesting, but to me, there's a lot left to be desired with her skating. It's hard.
But at the end of the day, if she went to Worlds, she'd still get a medal.
It's true.
She'd get a medal. So bravo to her.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is.
If she makes it to Worlds.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the issue.
I mean,
but all those Russian ladies are all top 3. They're all world medalists. They're all going to get there. I mean, whoever is there, it's like, watch out. I mean,
how about Trusova? She does 3 quads, but to me, she has the weakest skating skills of the bunch. Her back on the crossovers does go up and down. She has, again, no musicality going on. She's clearly a fighter. She clearly is a competitor, and that makes her very interesting. And when she lands a quad lutz and 2 quad toes, it's like, goodbye, everybody. Like, she is going to win. Like,
Yeah, but I would say, Dave, thinking of you too, Doug, what do you think of her quad lutz then compared to some of the others? I think it's the best out there right now. I found it the most exciting as an audience member.
Yes, she goes into it confidently with speed. She has the big change of edge, but that obviously that rocking from the inside to the outside edge gives her the necessary lean and then the wind up that I was talking about earlier. So she really gets to wind it up so that when she picks, she just spins, and it's beautiful. And she's she's going to rack up so many points. And then she's got she's got that big cantilever in her program.
I find it very unaesthetic. I find it very unappealing.
I don't think there's much appealing about her skating other than the jumps, although she has good spins. But
she does have great spins.
Her spins, her combination spin was amazing. Her flying camel was really good. Yeah, her combination at the end change was good too. And plus, she only did really not too many. I think it was only the triple flip that she put her hands over her head. So I thought that was a noticeable change. And even though the cantilever is extremely unladylike, it's different, and I was listening to the crowd's reaction, and she got the reaction, so it was just, and that and then Zagitova kind of did a cantilever in hers too. Anyway, But you're right. It's like even a woman doing Russian split jumps it's not very ladylike.
Sasha's were beautiful. Okay, Doug.
Yeah, if it's
Very
done
ladylike.
Gracefully and powerfully, I think it's
Right,
great.
it's
But
like
when
Sasha.
it's just when it's an awkward kind of look what I can do sort of position, it doesn't enhance a program to me. But I was surprised, like you said, Doug, that the audience, it must have been a moment live, and to me, I thought there was something else she could do that was so much more elegant. Maybe
I just feel they're going to make
moment.
a mockery of the IJS because if they give her above a 7 for components, that's disgusting. That is really
They probably will.
That's like
So
take me
get
to
ready.
the bathroom, give me the barf bag on the airplane because that is just criminal. They're going to give her the marks though if she lands those quads. That's just how this game works. But it's unfortunate because there's a lot to be desired there, especially in the skating skills and in the interpretation. But you know, she's skating to things that people are going to be excited by, and she's going to have a great season, I think.
I agree. She's going to have the big wow factor with the quads.
Yeah. Now, how about
3 quads?
But to me, I still have, Dave, even with that quad lutz and the 2 quad toes, although you're right, she might sneak in there. I still have her, in my opinion, 4th, kind of amongst those Russian ladies, because I would love to see Alina Zagitova and Kostornaya ahead of her. But I do see her plowing right past Elizaveta and Evgenia, in my opinion.
You're ranking her 4th, or what you think is going to happen? Because I think she's going to be first.
No, my personal, how I view the trajectory of these ladies. Yeah. You see her leading the pack, potentially.
Of
And
course
she won
she's
last year, right?
Yeah.
She won last year. She already won.
Yeah, she's going to win.
So I would say she'll win for sure.
Now, how about Zagitova? I thought she skated better than I thought she would. I wasn't sure how much she had left in the tank after Worlds last year. Her jumps looked better than they did last season. I thought they all looked...
So many of them were so clearly rotated, and she had so much more height than I ever anticipated her being able to have at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it. I thought her extension was better. It was her program that made me think that this camp is learning and adapting. It's like some movie.
Especially her short. Her short was really good, I thought.
Yeah.
She looks very restricted to me when she does her back crossovers. It almost looks like she's in pain with her back, but
and she loses speed, I feel. Yeah.
But she's she's performing very well. Has 3 winning seasons that she's on the back of. She's going to get the marks going in.
I thought the music is outrageously effective.
Yeah, she's going to get the marks for sure this year. As long as she skates clean, I think where she'll run into problems is when they all go head to head.
Now, her smoke break was literally, she even made time to go and run and buy the cigarettes in that smoke break. It was like, dear Lord, lady, come on, keep going.
Yeah. She doesn't have great at camel spin either, but her combo spin was quite good. She just looked extremely prepared. All of the Iteri students looked extremely prepared for this event. And
maybe it's horrible to say this, but did she look like the most gorgeous you'd ever seen her? I was like, holy cow. She was just so stunning. And in a world where you're trying to separate yourself from the juniors, out comes a movie star. And I don't know, you kind
her
of...
hair was perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know it sounds trite, but it's projecting this image of an established, mature artist.
A grande dame, right?
Yeah. It really does.
And to support you, Jonathan, I think, you can imagine the pressure. She's Olympic champion. She wanted to prove herself at Worlds, and it really didn't look like she was going to win Worlds going into it. It was a challenge, and she won the world title, and now it's like she has all this confidence. I just think that she's a world Olympic champion for the rest of her life. Mm-hmm. So she now can I've got the 2 biggest titles you can get on the planet. So she looks like she's starting to skate like she owns them. So
because I feel like this skating was better than she did at Worlds in many ways.
Her best ever. Yeah. That Charlotte into the double axel was incredible too. I thought it was really beautiful.
Also, Medvedeva's red hair is a no. She should have her regular color is much better than that dye job. I'm just pointing it out, Doug. We just were talking about the hair. You were talking about how beautiful.
I know.
What was that? I was like, did she buy that? It looks like
girls always want to do something with their hair, but I prefer it natural because she's to me a real beauty. She's an Elizabeth Taylor beauty.
I agree with you. She's like a Russian.
You know who else was here that they showed in the audience was Sotnikova.
Yeah, she looks great. Yeah.
She looked like a movie star. I couldn't. It was amazing to see how she's grown up.
Now, Anna Shcherbakova, she to me she is the sicklefoot Sasha Cohen because she is the most gorgeous lines until the foot, always in her positions on the spin. And that's the one thing that's killing her from being extremely effective when she is on the ice.
But it's so funny. Sometimes that's all it takes to give me the overall feeling of such less refinement compared to some of the others. It knocks her down a little bit to me.
That's what I was saying by calling her a sicklefoot Sasha Cohen.
Yeah.
It wasn't a compliment, Jonathan.
I know, but I meant even among her compatriots, where I think she is potentially much more elegant than all of them, but it really just, I don't know.
In my notes here, when she came out, I went hair plus, and then I also had only dress, and I have it in block letters.
Okay.
Little did I know was to come, but I have only dress. She was the only one that wore a dress.
Yeah.
All the rest wore bodysuits like Lululemon stuff.
Yeah.
And so I noticed that right away, and I was like, wow, what's going on here? What are they going to I can't wait to see what they're going to try to do. And, of course, the rest is history. So, but you go ahead, guys. Comment.
So I thought, the quad lutz, she had a fall. The triple flip, triple loop was gorgeous. I did like the spiral move that they're trying to do. I think that the forward, she does do like a forward Charlotte. It was a little bit awkward, but it was a really cool moment in the program. I loved the back spiral into the double axel. I thought that was about a +4 for that jump.
And the rocker counter into the double axel was good too.
Yeah. The costume change.
Flying counter
but I
was good,
Take note, France, Laureen, and May, or whatever. I found this an outrageously effective costume change that matched the music, that was elegant. I think the audience never recovered from it in a positive way. I think they were with her till the end, literally, because it was done so beautifully. And maybe it's a trick, maybe it's just kind of a cheap kind of move, but it was done so effectively that I found it absolutely stunning. Now, Doug, riddle me this. How do you find her shoulders and like the muscling of some of those jumps later in the program? Because to me, it got a little bit distracting.
I know, but at the end of the day, she did the stuff. She did the triple lutz, triple toe. She did the triple flip, Euler, triple sow, another triple lutz. The step sequence I've got good.
I thought that her twizzles, she had a bit of a stiff leg on a lot in the step sequence and the choreographic sequence. I thought that the twizzles were kind of a weak point in both. But she did have good spin. I think that her skating skills could be a little bit better as she's gotten taller. She could skate bigger. Her triple lutz, triple toe was a little bit back on her heel. I thought that was a little bit of a deduction for her. Yeah.
And Dave, with the spins, I thought some of her spins were exquisite, and then some really missed it. Like I found she was up and down for me with her spins.
Well, it's that camel spin with the foot that's turned in that she has the most gorgeous line except for the foot. So they need.
I
just wonder how many girls now are going to run out and get a dress like hers for regionals.
They all should.
But how could they? I mean, the way they did those mechanics was unlike the way anyone's done it before. It was always so clunky and awkward and trite, and this was just so sophisticated the way it worked.
Well, I went back to look at how did they do that, and it was, I still can't figure it out, but I was watching that one on my phone, not on my laptop. Anyway, it was a clever idea. And I haven't seen anything that clever since girls started wearing beige skates. I don't know.
Now, how about Kostornaya? Because she has had kind of a difficult last couple of months. She's struggled with a recurring injury, but she skated really well here in both programs. She really came together at the right moment. She repeated. I really like it. She repeated.
Beautiful as ever. Yeah.
I want to ask one thing, Doug. She tends to pick with a bent leg on her triple flip. it looks just she's so exquisite, except for that hammer.
She has a
leg.
hammer toe. It's
Yeah.
It's like she, instead of drawing her free leg back like in a straight stretch line to pick, it's like her weight goes in her body goes forward, and then the heel comes up of the picking foot, and then it just goes kaboom down.
Yeah.
And that's very kind of, bad, because it means that your weight is going too much onto the picking foot and not on the ball of the other foot.
Okay.
So, so it's that whole pole vaulting concept where the towing leg is straight and then it bows, it bends but she was bending it looking like she was chopping wood, which is very scary, but she gets the job done. But I've got hammer written down on both flips
and a slight wrap in the jumps.
And that's from hammering it, because that means the toe kind of goes into me a little bit early, so therefore her feet don't draw together, kind of like on the takeoff your skating foot and your picking foot meet parallel, and then you explode up, and she's probably picking her skating foot up too soon, like they're not coming together, so then it'll wrap.
Okay.
I also thought she kind of died a little bit after the step sequence, though. However, her mind was stronger than her body, and she made sure she did the triple flip, triple toe, and the triple flip, Euler, triple sow. And then she had that cool hop that foot hop. And then the triplets, I don't know how she did, because she had no speed.
It was but she pulled that out like no other.
Yeah.
And there was no scoring here, right? Like all the clips just cut off immediately at the end. This was just a show and tell. Yeah.
I know, but do you think somebody scored? Somebody must have.
Of course. There's an unofficial score.
Right. And then they had everybody there, too, waving Tarasova.
I'm sure Alla was there. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure they were scoring. So
Alexander Lakhernik. Yeah. They
The girls all do the Sasha Cohen move where they try to do the Sasha Cohen skid, but they all bend forward to do it. They're like not quite nailing it. But
even Evgenia tried that.
Yeah. I don't think her music edit in the free is so bizarre to me. It's like kind of generic piano music from Twilight. Then it goes into kind of a more rock edge. Doesn't seem like it really goes together, but I love her skating.
She is worthy of something much more sophisticated, unquestionably.
I don't think the program is as special as she is. So
that's a great way to say it. Yeah.
Right. I agree too.
Yeah.
There's still something about her that I love.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love the hop after the double axel. I really liked. I liked the transition into the triple loop in the free skate. It was all good. A little bobble in the step sequence for her as well. How about the men, Doug Ha? We have to hear Jonathan go on about Dmitry Aliev. I thought he needed a shower.
Not so much here. Not so much.
I thought he needed a shower and a shave and. Yeah, what? He had an okay free here.
Landed the quad toe twice, right? Yeah.
The Sound of Silence, free skate. Not my favorite.
The material for him this year wasn't as moving, I felt, as he was able to emote last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Kolyada, it's just more of the same, I fear, for him.
Unfortunately, the skating skills are so remarkable, though. Like some of the speed he's getting, some of the spins, it's just incredible. Yeah. But unfortunately, again, if you can't do any of the elements in the short program, it doesn't matter how beautiful all of your edges are and what kind of spinning you're doing.
And when he does the elements, they're some of the most beautiful in all of skating. But it's clearly his mind is...
Yeah, I had a feeling Doug froze. So,
right, so we're back after a technical difficulty, and we are going to discuss the pairs at the Russian test skates because there was quite the debut here. A little bit controversial. We have Ksenia Stolbova, who is back with her new partner, Andrei N. Okay, it's Novoselov. What? Andrei N. I don't have his name written down right in front of me.
Ksenia and Company. Yeah, that's what this
I'm
was
sure
about.
everyone's going to be yelling. I'll look it up right now because it will just make them happy. Okay, they'll hate us anyway for everything else that we said. But
here's what we can.
Novoselov, whatever his last name, Andrei N. Okay, he is skating with Ksenia. He's taller than Fedor. Her twist is still not great. The throws still get a lot of distance. She was back giving us Ksenia moodiness. I thought it was good to see Morozov programs back, but I think it'll be hard for them to be higher than third in Russia. I think that would be a good finish for them for this year. I wasn't...
Oh, Dave,
what?
I was obsessed with them.
They did the wrong lift in the short.
Well, yes, he aborted the lift, right?
No, but they're supposed to do a different lift in the short than they did. Because they did the star lift in the short. And the lift, that would get 0 points.
I'm talking about the final lift in the free,
okay,
or the penultimate lift in the free. And here's a surprising opinion.
They have to do a lasso lift in the
this
short.
This is the Bolero, short, right?
Bolero was the free.
Oh no, Bolero. No, that was
no. Bolero
Marina.
is Tarasova Morozov. This is Stolbova. Right. They did the Moonlight Sonata.
The emo Moonlight Sonata, which, are you ready for it? Loved it. Loved this music. I found it not one of those kind of abominations of, we even saw, was it Mervyn doing Moonlight Sonata at Mid-Atlantic State? But it was like the rock Moonlight Sonata.
That was the piece that's based off of that. But yeah. I thought this for Stolbova, it was good, but there were a lot of problems. Her death spiral wasn't low enough, so she wouldn't get any points for that. Because the head is not below the knee. I thought the
throws looked better than ever.
They did look good. She does have a weird wrap, but she always has. They look better.
But the ride-out on the throw triple sow lasted like 25 minutes, and I thought the throw triple flip was stunning.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. I thought their entire look was so different and modern, and they were hot while they were doing it. They were dancing, and it was, I don't know, I have missed her. And I thought the jumps were there. I thought their skating was soft and yet open and grand at the same time. And I thought the lifts, in the Moonlight Sonata especially, even though they botched it, the second to last one, I thought all of them were just beautiful. And the final lift, dismount, where, it was, I don't know. I was so enthused by this. And this is a program I would be excited to watch at an event.
I like watching her.
And then I had the forward outside death spiral, right?
Yeah.
That was really cool and really well done.
It was not low enough. But but one thing I have to say, I do think she made a very strategic move, teaming up with Nikolai romantically, because his muses tend to do well, and I think that her career was on the skids, so I think she made quite a power move there.
I think he delivered a very good vehicle for them.
Yeah, we should have asked Elton John about it when we saw her at Mid-Atlantics. We could have asked her.
But I will tell you, both former Elton John teams here, I know that Stolbova was just part of a team that was with him, but I think they made drastic improvements in their overall aesthetic and style value not being with Elton John.
Yeah. Tarasova Morozov, Doug, what did you think? Did you like the music in the free? I liked the move. I liked a lot of the lifts that they did, a lot of the dance mini lifts that they did. I liked the overall elements, and I still felt like there was something inherently boring about them. And about their performance quality and just the overall music, I thought could have been better.
Okay, are these the ones that take from Morozov or Marina now?
Zueva. Tan Marina Zueva, Doug. They are very tan.
Yes, it's in Florida, Dave. I'll tell you what. Yeah. She needed a pina colada while she was up there with that tan.
How often is she watching skating by the pool like Doug Hobb? Because Marina is dark. That I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah.
I thought their long program, I've written down imaginative. I like to have, like Jonathan, you were talking about all the little lifts, the little transitions and stuff. I thought it was really good.
I thought
Well,
the stuff was cool.
She's
Charlie White did it. There were a lot of things that were very similar to what he did with James and Sippers last year, including how he kind of has that lift that kind of moves into position at the end that it looks like this team will also maybe struggle and stumble with a little bit because it's so challenging at the end. But I thought that the lift exits were really cool throughout the program.
But they knew in that free, they needed some, like you're saying, Dave, I think the team is aware that they have beautiful lines that just kind of are. Mm-hmm. Maybe they don't excite in ways that other teams might. So they popped up her eye makeup. They had him grow out the hair. The look is a little more dramatic. The triple sow cows in the free have like a very funky exit to them to make it more interesting, even if they're not as interesting as others. The choreographic button at the end of that made it interesting. And they did the same with the triple toe. They exit with flair, I said in the short program. They're adding these interesting buttons for them that you're intrigued by the material, if not the skater. I thought, because we worry about their attention maybe sometimes or their commitment at times, I felt Marina has definitely clearly inspired them or has shifted the training in a way that seems to work. Because even when they did the triple toe and double toe that they were supposed to do, and she landed forward on the triple toe. So she singled the next one, but then turned around and did the double toe as the third jump. And that to me may not be something she would have done in the past. She may have just omitted the entire final jump previously.
It shows good training that she picked it up right away. It's a pair. She's got to.
I think Marina makes them train more probably run-throughs than they did with Elton John, for sure. Yeah.
And you'll have to refresh my memory, but these throw triple loops, the one they did both in the short and in the free, holy cow, the height on that was, they always had decent height before, but really it was about their twist kind of exclusively, but the height on that was pretty incredible. And I have to say my favorite thing in that whole free program was the choreographic step sequence before the throw triple sow. I thought it was absolutely incredible.
I loved all the movements. It was just the music that I didn't love in the program.
Yeah, but the music was funky, and it's not for me. I don't care for it, but I think it was another layer of look at something, here's something interesting.
The orchestration was different. The orchestration of the music was different, and it made you think when you were watching it, like, what is this? And then you're seeing all these good lifts with original dismounts, and everything just seemed to be of such quality. So then you went and wandered, your brain went wandering off to the music, which then I had to try and figure it out, but it was over before I could figure it out. But I liked it.
And the concept for however they're going to end the free is very cool. They botched it. It was this kind of lift that ends in a spin and all this sort of stuff. They completely missed the mark on it, but I feel it has potential to end up being something very cool. Dave, I don't mean to put you on the spot. I should have said it before. So Charlie choreographed the free. Do we know who choreographed the bolero for the short?
I can relook that up.
Because I'll tell you, there was some really interesting stuff going on there. The death spiral entrance I thought was absolutely innovative. The spin entrances were amazing. And when he has his
Massimo Scali did bolero.
Oh, how interesting. Remember, he used to do like Japanese nationals for every skater.
So it's all Marina's minions are doing it, all of her boys. All right.
And it's working, and we've not seen necessarily this aesthetic for a while in pairs. And the lift was so incredible in the short with the one hand. I thought that was kind of a cool moment, and she looks amazing. I don't know. I was very enthused between Stolbova and this team. I was very enthused by the future that Russian pair skating has going on this season.
I think that they're with Marina Zagitova. She knows how to win. I think that I think Sui and Han have often struggled with injuries. Staying healthy throughout a season.
This is the most threatened I think they should be.
Yeah.
Because we always knew that Tarasova and Morozov could do this, but this seems the closest to a season that they might.
Mm-hmm. It comes down to me, they're fast and they can skate.
Yeah.
So they can do the lifts. He's like, look at his speed. compared to the American pairs. And like when he's turning the girl, I mean, he's flying. Those mohawks are flying, you know.
Will Alexa and Chris wind up with Marina one day, Doug Ha? Will they go there for the last push?
Well, let's talk about this, Dave, because you've talked about how they're turning sort of Southern California, this Jenny and Todd, and then they're bringing in Robin and maybe Roth.
I just don't understand who's running the show in the pair, other than Alexa.
Marina should be, because we forget about her pair's pedigree, and just seeing her influence in this way, you're like, what the hell are we doing that she's sitting right here, and she hasn't become the epicenter for American pairs?
Well, I think
she clearly knows what she's doing with the training, because we knew that this was a tough team to train and get focused, and kind of on both sides, I think.
I think she's had a couple almost where she's taken on pairs before with Rockney and Lindsay, and she took on Yankauskis when she was with Joshua Reagan, but those didn't really pan out. So I think there's been some hesitation, but I think you give her a talent, and she certainly knows what to do. And I think
look what she did with Gordiev and Grinkov.
Yes, I think obviously psychologically she's quite powerful with some of these teams. So if you could get her working with Chris Knierim every day, that's something that I think could be very beneficial, I think, in the future. But she also charges $150 an hour, I think, as we said. So that's...
But I'm sorry, if she gets you there, she's worth every penny.
She is, but one thing I wanted to say...
Why spend $100 an hour if it's not going to get you anywhere?
Well, here's one thing that I wanted to say. Tom Collins passed away, and rereading all of his obituaries and the articles about him, he always gave young skaters a chance. IMG never puts the pairs in Stars on Ice. Yet, if the pairs medaled or ever did well, they would want them in the show so that they could make money off of them. Don't you think that they have a responsibility, as they have a partnership with the USFS, to put these pairs in the show so that they can at least get the experience, make some money, and invest in their training? To me, I think that makes them corporate bastards, and that they need to be thinking about the development. You have a stakeholder responsibility, a shareholder responsibility, right? Not just a financial one. And that's where Byron, I think, is really making a big mistake with these pairs. Plus, who wants to see 5 dance teams in a show, or 4 dance teams? Don't you? I want to see the Knierims do the twist, okay?
Totally.
And so does everyone, whether they know skating or not. No one cares if they have a medal or not. What they want to see are some cool tricks, and it benefits both sides. It seems ridiculous, like you're saying, that they're not there.
Yeah.
Entertainment. That's what they need a pair for in Stars on Ice.
Yeah.
The entertainment, so the wow factor from a throw triple loop, that triple twist of the Kiernims. I mean, they could bring the house down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one was seeing Huff and LeDray because of their medals. They just had star quality and presence, and that's what made them, such showstoppers. So I think Stars on Ice is making a big mistake.
Yeah, what they think must be motivating an audience to go. Quite frankly, a lot of people know the Knierims over some of the dance teams that have medaled, at Worlds and things like that. So it seems silly that they think they wouldn't be worthy of a spot.
Well, I think they try to use social media to do purely the marketing rather than paying for ads. So they try to have the skaters post on social media. It clearly hasn't worked, but maybe they don't think they have the right following or something like that. But I think that they're making an error in judgment.
Agreed.
Right. And then in Canada, they would always have Megan and Eric, so there was always a balance to the show.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was definitely, having seen both shows, the Canadian show, definitely had the wow factor.
Yeah. I think the American show has the snooze factor to it. I just don't think that it has, that X factor. But what do you... Boykova, I have to say...
Speaking of snooze factor... Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, Jonathan, they were... so strong technically. Moskvina and Vasilyev have put together lifts, they've put together elements that are so strong that should be very competitive in Russia, in the rest of the world. They had a very strong short program. There's just something inherently lacking in charisma with this team.
It almost looked juniorish at times. I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on what it was exactly because, like you're saying, The throw triple flip in the free was great. It was on the music. It was very exciting. The transition out of it was very interesting. I thought the throw triple loop had kind of something goofy was going on with that takeoff technique.
Why she fell?
Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was something about the takeoff. Her feet looked a little. I couldn't quite pinpoint it.
She looked like she got thrown too soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they do the interesting lift exits and things like that. And I find what I wrote was they're unique, if not dynamic.
And it looks like the guy has grown, like he's bigger this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but their outfits, they wore real outfits for this.
Yeah.
And I thought it definitely enhanced their whole program, their look. And besides, I thought, again, I love the choreography. I love the entrance and exits to lifts and spins. Yeah.
A lot of like half twists before they would go up in the lifts, just really difficult, interesting things that were happening.
But ultimately put them ahead of Stolbova in potential for this year, in your opinion.
Yeah. I think Stolbova is really competing with Zabiako and Enbert, who have the experience and who have been doing steadily the last couple of years. Obviously, I think Stolbova has more X factor, but we're going to have to see how it kind of all plays out. Zabiako and Enbert didn't skate
because
here.
Also not to sell her partner, Mr. N, short, because I found he moved beautifully.
Yeah,
really beautifully. So I don't know. I don't know how that'll shake down.
It's going to be an exciting Russian nationals over Christmas. It always is. Every season. This year will be no different.
But pairs in particular, they all really upped. The pairs event has really changed for them this season, I think.
They're Kolyada getting a lobotomy away from another team gold medal, I think, at the Olympics. So they are on track. If they can
and the Russians are so focused on the quadrennial. They're so focused on the Olympic Games.
Yes.
To do well. That's their whole goal.
Yeah.
So, these pairs still have, this year's Worlds to get out there, be seen, and make their mark to set them up for the Olympics.
Yeah. Now, interesting in the dance, they're also getting smart in the dance. It's so interesting to me how Sinitsyn and Katsalapov, they were middling. They weren't doing that well. They went to Julin. In the beginning, not much, and now they have really, now that they've become his main focus, they have really been improving. Victoria's skating skills have really improved over the last 2 seasons.
I wrote it reminded me of Marie-France, Dave, because we've mentioned how she seems to empower women to skate with this great confidence and authority, and that's what I felt from her in this. So there was a presence that I haven't. Her twizzles were just as fast as his, and you knew he was still trying to out-twizzle her, and she kept right up.
Well, he has a bit of a weird shoulder issue going on in his twizzles and with his balance that always seems to affect him. That looks off always, but I have to say, something about them doing Singing in the Rain and in the rhythm dance, when he makes those, the 4 smiles that he gives are like that of a psycho killer. Like, they really are off-putting to me. Like, there is something about seeing Russians trying to do happy that it's like, pick a sad musical. That would have been better,
Yeah.
But I have to say, their free was nice. I didn't think that the music was mesmerizing, but I think that they're going to be hard for Hubble and Donahue and the team that completely Stepanov and Bukin. I think that they're going to be challenged and chalk.
Do you think that was strategic that Stepanov and Bukin weren't here? I was unsure why they weren't here.
She was ill, they said.
Okay.
So I mean, I don't think that there's any conspiracy or anything. But I think it'll be a challenge to be. I think that Victoria and Nikita look very solid and improving.
They look fast and they were hitting pretty positions. Like, again, the free dance did seem a bit more general.
Yeah.
But she's skating with more authority, and they have deep edges, and and this kind of confidence. Whether that's just from time or, quite frankly, the silver, if they just have a renewed sense of self, or maybe for her the first time having a true confidence in what she's doing. I don't know. They are setting the stage to be pretty competitive this season.
Yeah, I don't think that they're in any danger of challenging Papadakis and Cizeron, but I think that they are definitely have a strong shot at holding that silver medal against Hubble and Donahue, especially because the early reports of Hubble and Donahue's free dance have not been stellar this year. A lot of people question the music edit.
Well, it sounds like let's see what happens with Chalk and Bates.
I mean, they have things to work on as well. Piper and Paul right there. So it's going to be and Stepanov
a real fight.
A real fight for the podium. But we did see a little bit. Annabelle Morozov looked like she's getting stronger here. She looked more like a Russian diva. We saw Tiffany and Jonathan. It was okay. Their performances. So it's going to be interesting in the dance. But Doug Ha, Daisuke Takahashi is doing the greatest step sequences. We know he can do jumps. Can we give him 11 for components? How are we going to make him competitive with the Japanese men? Because we saw a short program clip. I'm obsessed with him. I don't think we can give him enough components. I know he doesn't do all the quads, but if he is healthy, I just would like to send him to the Worlds.
Important for the sport to see him there doing all of those incredible edges and that kind of presence and musicality. It's been missed.
Yeah.
Totally missed.
Yeah. So I guess, Doug Ha, what was your moment of the week so far?
My moment of the week was probably the little Korean girl that won the junior Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Haein Lee. Yeah, I was not expecting it, and when I saw her skate, I just if she was a used car salesman, I would buy 3 cars. I mean, I just adored it. I just adored her, the quality of the elements, the cleanliness, the package was there, and it was like, wow, like, 'cause she's, I don't know, how old is she? Is she 14 or something?
Yeah, I think about that. Yeah, and she has grown tremendously since last year, and it looks like it's all gone to...
Yeah, she seems like on the other side of things, and the technique is holding beautifully. Yeah.
Yeah, she was 8th last year at Junior Worlds, I think. And then, so this year, she's definitely, going to be on the podium.
Yeah. How about you, Jonathan? What was your moment of the week?
Well, it was nice to see, for me, Stolbova again. I don't know, and Marina, to see how she transformed a team. But what about, I might go with the now cautious optimism I have for a one Ms. Gracie Gold, because every time we see her, I know we've talked about, Doug, like that the harness is just what it is, it's not necessarily an indicator of much, but I do see this taking a turn. I'm cautiously optimistic for her and hope that things continue to go well with her. There seems to be a spark and a fight and a form in the skating, an approach and an attack that I don't know. I'm starting to get hopeful again because, I was so skeptical of both Gracie and Karen in May, June, when we knew they were, and both of them have really surprised me in positive ways so far, and I hope that continues.
Karen was wonderful at Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Really.
And to be honest, I didn't expect it. Not that I needed to, but it was almost shocking to me, and I was thrilled to see it.
So then I'm going to ask you, gentlemen, if Gracie Gold is doing quad sows in the harness, why isn't she competing?
I believe she will compete at the regionals this year. She has to go.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you do a domestic competition like everybody else?
Because I think it's going to take. I think Gracie probably struggles with some self-doubt, and I think that they probably weren't organized enough to be ready in enough time. And I think that was not ready for when the Philadelphia competition happened, especially to go against Karen Chen and the other girls there. I think that they are probably hoping to get through regionals, have a stronger sectionals, and be hopefully back up to speed at nationals, because even though Gracie is physically stronger, she's never been the greatest competitor. And I think that her confidence has always kind of been an issue. So I'm sure that getting her back into form, into being Gracie Gold, is going to take a while. And I think that is still the X factor. But if she's doing these jumps in the harness, that tells me that she's probably feeling better about herself, better about her skating, and maybe we'll see her keep putting more and more effort in and see a better result. So,
well, let's all hope so.
Yeah, because I feel like sometimes in her past things have just been rushed. Mm-hmm. So maybe it's a positive thing that she didn't rush to do something like Philadelphia, have a negative experience, and ultimately make her take 2 steps back. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my moment of the week.
You, Dave?
I think it was seeing Kostornaya back skating well, because it had been very quiet on the Kostornaya front. We saw her a little rushed back in shows earlier this summer where she wasn't quite back up to her standard, and it was good to see her back and promising and do so well. So we want to know, what was your moment of the week, and who did you like on those 88 and 89 Nationals videos? Who stuck out to you? Watch them. Doug Mattis skating to Control by Janet Jackson, Rudy Galindo, Paul Wiley, Christopher Bowman, Tom Z, Craig Heath skating to, I don't know what he was skating to, but tell us in the comments below. And also we will have our Patreon videos where we do the best of the ladies coming up this week. So let us know, what were your moments of the week? Hold it edge and look sexy. Bye, guys.
Take care, everybody.